Well, my practice engages the idea of craft and how craft can reconnect with the contemporary art practice in a way that it can tell the story of marginalized cultures. I think specifically about how ornamentation sometimes is dismissed as decorative and without meaning. And for me, ornamentations like you see in mashrabiyas or rugs or things that I grew up with in Cairo tell the story of a people and tell the story of my personal history in a way that can be political, it's cultural, it's historical. And so when contemporary artists in the West had dismissed the idea of craft, there are all these stories that were untold. Within my practice, I'm trying to bring some of that traditional sacred geometry into the work, and in that way creating potentially new visual language that could tell a story of a person like myself. I decided I wanted to be an artist when I was studying geology, and I realized that I much preferred drawing the strat columns and the fossils than studying them. And so I signed up for some art classes at the university, and very quickly I realized that contemporary art and contemporary art practices weren't really about rendering the world, but instead they were about ideas and about politics and about telling stories. And I knew immediately that that's what I wanted to do. When I understood that art wasn't about representing the world as it is, but instead talking about ideas and talking about politics. And so when I understood that, I think that's when I really knew that I wanted to be an artist. I feel very strongly about working on paper, and as a commercial practice, I think a lot of artists tend to shy away from works on paper because they're delicate, they're difficult to conserve. People think of paintings as things on canvas, where for me, I'm much more interested in every element and every piece of material that goes into the work to have embodied meaning around what I'm trying to talk about. And so it's very important that I'm working on paper because I'm interested in the history of the paper craft and embroidery and sewing and paper cutting. Those things had often been relegated to women's work. And so I love the embodied politics around working on paper and paper cutting specifically, because I'm interested in telling the story and creating, again, power and agency in something that was dismissed as a way to occupy time for women. And for me, I want to use it as a tool for power and a tool to tell the story of feminism. So it's very important for me to be using paper.